What's up, guys? This is Nima. I want to talk about the re-release of Knights of the Old Republic on the Nintendo Switch. Let's find out if this will be a good trip down memory lane or another company that bumbles a re-release. Now, recently, we have seen quite a few games get re-released, and I'm looking at Mario 3D All-Stars, the Nintendo expansion pack, and most recently, the debacle that was the GTA Trilogy. So I was hesitant to pick up Knights of the Old Republic. This is a game that I once said was the greatest thing that has come out of the Star Wars universe. And outside of maybe The Mandalorian, I still think that's probably true. So I didn't want this great game to be tarnished by another company not respecting their property enough to do it right and to actually put the work in to port their system, to re-release their game. I was pleasantly surprised when I played this to find out that this plays a lot like it did originally. The graphics are, I think they're cleaned up, and I say that because I can't tell. To be honest, I haven't been able to find a copy to play it up against. I've looked up some YouTube videos. It looks pretty much the same. There might be a little bit more definition, like a little, but it's hard to tell. Like, it's really hard to tell because, for one, I've been playing it in handheld mode. I have a Nintendo Switch OLED, and that's really the only way to play it. And in that mode, it actually looks quite well. But when I recorded video and did that, I docked it, and the dock doesn't look so great. You know, as you expand that screen, you do see blemishes. You see, like, that, what people consider the Vaseline smear of graphics. And yeah, it's still there. I'm not going to say that it looks wonderful or anything. But it looks exactly like I remember it. It plays exactly like I remember it. I haven't had any lag. I haven't had any slowdown and no major glitches that have prevented me from continuing to play the game or interrupted quests or any of things of that nature. I have really, I don't know, I really enjoyed my time with it. The voice acting, the music, it's all the same. And I'll be honest, it aged really well. This is a game that I think was before its time. So often it was kind of like this occult game that I would speak about, back in, I think it was college when I played this. And no one knew what I was talking about. And like, oh, it's just a dumb Star Wars game. Is what it is. Because we've seen a number of garbage Star Wars games, and I try to explain. No, this is like one of the best RPGs I've ever played, and I think it still lives up to it. It has that, like, I want to say Final Fantasy 12 Xenoblade Chronicles kind of battle style, where it's kind of like your character is actively attacking, you don't control as much of it as you do in other games, but ultimately that is really more of a basic, like, computer RPG kind of style. And I think it translates really well. And I think that the battle mechanics that go into it and the tactics that go into facing each obstacle really open up this new path of gameplay. And it kind of expands upon just like a turn-based combat, and I think ultimately gives you a little bit more control. You have so much more control of what you can do, but at the same time you're being rushed because it's actively going. Like, it's not, you take your turn, they take their turn. It's like this waiting system. No, everything is happening at breakneck pace as far as combat goes. Now, I will say that this game did, I don't know, it was more difficult than I remember it being. There's been multiple times where I have died in this game, and I don't remember it being so hard. And maybe that's just because games have gotten a little more accessible and, a little more user friendly, if you will. And so when you take back some of these old games, like, they don't pull no punches. There's no mercy kind of style, but you'll get through it, and, like, you'll figure it out. I will say too, on that note, part of the reasons why I've died is because it doesn't really hold your hand. There is no what I call idiot button or idiot reference, I should say, which is what I love in games now, where there's just like this arrow that points you in the direction you're supposed to go, or maybe, a yellow dot. Hey, go here, stupid. I love that because I need it. But it's not in here. You have to have a walkthrough. You have to kind of look through, like, okay, how do I beat this? The Rancor, for instance, in the first world you get into, that stumped me for forever. I couldn't figure out what to do. It's pretty simple, actually. If you ever get to that point, just quick info. Put a grenade in the pile of bodies and then put the odor in there as well, and then the Rancor will go and blow up. It's pretty cool, actually. But you had to figure that out. It wasn't pointed out to you, this is exactly what you do. And that entire game plays out like that. Now, one of the things that I've talked about with RPGs lately has been empty dialogue. And in fact, I just talked about it in Mercenaries Rebirth, where I say they did a good job of there not being a lot of dialogue. And I actually appreciate it being really A to B conversations. This game does have a lot of dialogue, but they do it so well because each conversation sheds a light on the character. It expands the story. It expands your reason, if you will, for being. And I really appreciate that. I think this is like classic storytelling done right. And I don't see a lot of games do that as much anymore. And I hate to be one of those people who, back in my day or but no, it really does, because you start to really care and understand each character. You know where they're from, you know how they got there, you know why they have certain emotions that they do. You understand why some of them don't trust, why some of them are maybe skittish around new people, like all this stuff. And they do it well, because it's not empty. It's not a lot of dialogue that you don't care about. It's pretty much, it sucks you in. It's very engaging. And I can't speak enough to how when they do make the remake, which I think is coming out in 2022, they better not mess that up. They better not screw up the writing, because I just realized here recently that is the biggest fault of gaming that we have right now. It's not the graphics, it's not FPS, it's not any of that. It's writing. The writing has just been not great. And you look at it, you look at all the games of the year right now. Most of them are games that have very little dialogue, that don't have a lot of story, or they're very simple stories. And then the ones that do it right, like Psychonauts 2 or It Takes Two, they are leaps and bounds above other games that are in that same genre. But they do it because the story is so good, because the writing is so well. But anyway, yeah, I would say this is well worth it in so many reasons. I think part of the things that really make it appealing to me, and something that I'm happy to give it glowing reviews, is the fact that there's so many people who haven't played it and should definitely experience it. It's not hokey Star Wars. It's dirty. It's grungy. It's fun. And they can have that experience for $14.99. And we're talking 100 hours, if you really want to get into it, maybe 60 to 80 to beat it for $14. You can't pass that up. And it may be one of the best games that have come out in this fourth quarter, if you will. I haven't had many experiences with a game that has pulled me in as much as this one, and a game that I kind of know the story to, so that you even give it more respect behind it, knowing that I've beaten it and played it years and years ago, and I'm still interested, and I'm still playing it. But yeah, I definitely recommend picking it up. For $14.99, it's crazy not to be honest. Especially if you're a gamer, you're looking at Christmas break, you got some time away. This is a good one to hit, especially if you've never played it. And if you have, I recommend checking it out again. There was so much more nuance that I didn't see, and so much more stuff in there that maybe I missed on. But anyway, guys, I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. If you're going to pick it up, if you've played it, what your thoughts are. But please subscribe, do all that other stuff. I appreciate you guys. Take care.